1985, Los Angeles. Having survived a massacre 6 years earlier in which all her friends were killed, Maxxxine has become a famous porn actress, but she believes she is capable of more and is trying to conquer big movies. Having performed impressively at the audition, the girl gets the lead role in the horror The Puritan 2, which is going to shoot progressive director Elizabeth Bender, but at that moment Maxxine's past catches up with her. The girl gets the video cassette, which hints that the events of 6 years ago are known not only to her alone. Among the many relatively young directors working in the horror genre, T. West is one of the most underrated. His filmography, which stretches over 2+ decades, is clearly divided into 3 periods, the first of which includes several indie projects of varying degrees of success, and the second of which includes guest director work on a succession of horror series and short films for genre anthologies. The third began a couple of years ago with the release of the slasher X, followed by the prequel Pearl, and then the sequel Maxxxine, formed into a real opus magnum of the director, revealing the main talent of West. He is a brilliant compiler and stylizer, repackaging the genre heritage in something of his own, original and unique. The main problem with X was its relative simplicity. West did his best to make his movie look like a lost slasher from the late 70s, but at the end of the watch it was hard to escape the internal confusion of what it was, and more importantly, why. In Maxxxine the director partially, but still answers this question. This is his declaration of love for the genre, and at the same time an attempt to reflect on what fame is, how it changes people and what sacrifices a person, who dreams of becoming famous, should be ready to make. Maxxxine is technically the main character of the movie and by default has a lot of audience credit for being the so-called final girl who survived the bloody massacre in the first part of the trilogy. She's strong, independent, and determined, which can't help but buy her off, but at the same time Maxxxine is far from being not only a role model, but a positive heroine at all. The road to the top of the ladder of stardom is paved not only with shattered dreams, but literally with dead bodies, and Maxxxine is willing to do anything to get her 15 minutes of fame. While watching it's hard not to catch yourself thinking that T. West sympathizes with his heroine, primarily because he sees in her himself, a person who will do anything to unlock her talent and will not tolerate any obstacles in her way. Maxxxine may come across as a ruthless and cruel sociopath devoid of empathy, but there is nothing personal about these qualities. She was created to shine, and anyone who tries to prevent her from doing so, will be destroyed. Maxxxine is a very cinematic film, brilliantly stylized as a mid-80s movie, but for once the stylization doesn't feel self-indulgent, much less narcissistic. It's as if West took a ride in a time machine back 40 years, shot the movie in the Los Angeles of this era, and brought it back. Like Quentin Tarantino with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's as if West is filming it for himself. He's not exploiting the viewer's nostalgia by playing on recognizable details, but sharing with him his love for that era, for what is valuable and important to him. He builds on the screen his own impression of feelings and memories, about time, about movies, about characters, and morals. And for once there is something else in this rapper, a powerful story about how it is not enough for a star to be just talented, she must be with fists, knives, and, just in case, with a shotgun.